welcome to all of you. And first, to just in a mantric way, to pay my uh, regards. Om Amrita Mateshwari Devvai Namo Namah. Om. Okay, so in terms of academic sense, generally we say that this is something new topic. This is not the new topic. And this is the ancient most one of the practical things used in ancient India. But we have no scientific proof till 1993 to justify that statement. But thanks to the International Union of Astrophysics and Astronomy, that some of the people from the West, they started learning, and that's why the story started to understand. The simple question is this: why a particular temple is only at that site? Why a particular temple is from one to another center at a particular distance and particular direction? That was the big question raised, and that's how altogether it is called a landscape geometry. That it has already something, natural phenomena, divine phenomena, cosmic phenomena, what our ancient great sages tried to understand. This way the whole story is. So that's why the title Landscape Geometry of Sacred Places, because this is a huge literature. We have already published in Cambridge series, a big book, and still so many studies going on. Here's some example in a popular way so that we can understand and try to understand that how that our ancient sages tried to explain all these things. Okay, so you're most welcome. And anytime in the meanwhile, you can raise your question, no problem. Okay, just to give you an idea that how we talk about that. So one of the very popular things we always used to say that why the Panchabhuta, the five gross elements related Shivlingas are in a particular direction, in a particular longitudinal way, and there is a little bit variation, 0.002% variation of the latitude. So just this is the way that idea came to mind, that there is something special where the great mind of the ancient sages and divine being meet together, and this way the whole architecture or location of the temple created. So just giving you a sense that nowadays we are talking about this. This is the one example. Just coming from the west and east, that how it is linked together. So I am citing only one example, a very well-known genius, Leonardo da Vinci, who was in the 15th century. So I got the opportunity to study Leonardo design in Milano and Pavia in Italy, the original thing. And then just to compare this, that fellow never visited Asia, but so many things, the way he explained that he was having some deeper background from the Indian root. So only to give you one example, like you see that here in the left-hand side where my cursor is moving, perhaps you can see my cursor. Can you see my cursor?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you see that very simply we say that there are three levels of design through which we try to understand the cosmic frame. The infinities, that is outer, that is circle. Then we say that space is defined by square, and then the mythical realms by the triangle. So you see the second level here, all superimposed there. So this way you call that the outer, that is called direction. It is very similar also what this is mostly based on Satpat Brahmana and Atharvedic, some of the verses translation. And then I cite parallel that Leonardo has used in a similar way based on the 6th century textual tradition for Vartuvius. He used that one. He never said that this is mine. Okay. So what happened, that circularity defined at 4 main direction, 4 cardinal direction, and then center to check all and move that. 4 + 4 + 1 is equal to 9, and that's why that is the 9 number is referring to directionality. Then temporality, the day and night, these are the two division of the time frame, and always day going up and then down, then the night also going down and then up. So always having two phases, and that's how we try to put it. 4 as a symbol of temporality, and the 3 is speciality, what you call 3 locus. So if you can multiply these, 9 into 4 into 3 is equal to 108. And that is the symbolic number what most of the saints of majority of the sections in Hindu traditions, they use a mala, rosary, having 108 beads. Okay, similar things we find in Leonardo also. So I'm not going to discuss Leonardo, just I am saying that we don't know, still not studied that how that fellow got all these things from the classical ancient Indian tradition. So this is the first thing to know, that how this numerical symbolism. And as you know that in terms of numerical symbolism, Bharatiya, the Indian tradition, is very high and very rich. This is all established tradition. Okay. The other thing, first let me just give you a little bit here and there clue, and then you can think over that. Look how propagated through the English literature and Western world, Shiva is always described as god of destruction. Okay. Try to read the original Sanskrit, ancient. Nowhere it is written, no. Shiva means always well-being. Then how he'll be god of destruction. He's completing a cycle and then restarting it, and that phase, the last point, maybe just to stop and start. How you can translate that in this? A destructor, a destroyer? No, nothing like that. There is no word in the Western world to just give that full explanation of Lord Shiva. But the credit goes to a great scholar, is still living, that is theoretical physicist Fritjof Capra. First time in the history, in 1975, he wrote a book that became a classic in the whole world in scientific literature and translated into about 30 languages, The Tao of Physics. In that, he tried to say that, look, this is nothing like God. This is the representative of the total cosmos. And Shiva is not like any being, but Shiva is just a story of the dancing cosmos. And he says this is the whole play of the physics going on the name of Shiva. And that's why he put a name. He said, no, Shiva not to be called as Shiva, that image to be called as Mandala. It originated in the ancient past, beyond even black hole theory, etc., then continuously going on, and then it will exist some way in future. That is the story of Fritjof Capra. So just taking that idea, when we are talking about Shiva Linga, so not only to say that in Western scholarship, they mostly, so either they say this is the icon representing God of destruction, or always say this is a symbol of eroticism, male-female union and something going on like that. But we have tried to study one of the Puranas, and Matsya Purana especially. There is a section describing that what is Shiva Linga. So just to give this clear reference, what Fritjof Capra and later Joko, also another physicist, they have tried to explain that you see this image, the icon, the basement having the 3 layers here. That is underground. It is just like 3 layers. You can say the Akasha, then we say Earth, and then underworld. Okay, 3 locals, what is called in our mythological literature. And then you can find this lotus petal 7 here. Okay, It is just like 7 layers in the atmosphere from Earth to the jet stream. In classical geology, still we teach that 7 layers of the atmosphere. And if you can put this two-dimensional surface into 3 dimensions, the 7 up, 7 down, it is just like your own body. The 7 chakras up and the 7 basement of the chakra down, what we call in Sanskrit, Bhuvana Kosha. So this way, this whole preparation of the cosmic representation, your own body, the cosmic body, and infinity covering all that, that create the basement, and that's why that is called an evolution, Srishti, and this is the base of the Brahma. Then comes the upper portion of that one, that is, here in the basement, you can see that is a octagonal structure, 4 you can see back and 3-dimensional 4 in the back, like Vishnu's 8 hands. So that gives the whole substance of life. So basement, it is just like anatomy. Now all the substance ready to make your body in 8 direction, and Vishnu is looking after. That's why this particular term used in the Puranic literature is sthiti, existence. Now comes that who will give you the ethereal breath, the prana, for the life. Only mother can. And that word is yoni, nowhere to be translated as a female organ. Impossible. Maybe in a sketchy manner, in a popular manner, but not in a real manner, no. And the word used for that in the Sanskrit, Hiranya Garbheni, it is the golden egg of the whole cosmos. What in creation theory we discuss like this. That is the yoni, so that is ready now to put that ethereal breath, to create the life, and then we need a specific power, a type of sudden something, vital energy to make it movement. And that is Shiva, that is the upper portion, Linga, and that is called, again in Sanskrit, Akasha Rupena, Chitta Matrena. Akasha Rupena, it is just, you can see sky from anywhere, it is always a spherical end, and that is the Shivalinga. And you can realize this when you can awaken your super consciousness. Chitta Matrani, you can go to the minute level awakening of your whole consciousness, and then you can imagine sky, that energy is touching, and then the life started coming up. So we offer water, we never say that is the water, we always say Charanamrita. It is Amrita, just like our Mata Amriteshwari. Amrita, it is that nectar that we took, and this way we transfer that for the creation in a spiral way going on. That is the form of Shiva. So just to say this, that generally very popularly we try to say other things. So we have to use even such scholars like Fritjof Karadzic. There are other well-versed, and at least 5, 6 are well known. In this field, they have tried to understand the Indian metaphysics and iconography. That had been transferred. Here in the left hand side, you can see that Shiva Linga itself, that Shiva is sitting there. And Shiva having 18 characters. 18 characters related to the different forms of life phenomena, act phenomena, body phenomena, and also 18 Puranas also. Later on interpretation. Just to say this, when we are saying, oh, we are going to just Shiva temple like this. So remember, it is not only Shiva temple. You have to go to that level, then only you can find that how you also represent Shiva. Shivoham, Shivoham, Satchidananda Murti, etc., all this prayer. Just to give the same thing what I was talking. This is very special linga. I am showing that is Kashi Vishwanatha. Little bit more emphasis later on, I will show you that it is conceived like this, that within the linga, here is a Shiva, what you have seen earlier, sitting like this. This is the iconographic form to understand Shiva Rupa. In the form of Shiva, he is always in the linga. Now you can try to just see close by. Generally, when you come to Kashi, You see only outside of fully decorated. Rarely you see the inner side, complete naked open linga. This is the linga. See the left hand side, there is something like something attached here. And this is the way it is described in the ancient text, that Kashi Vishwanath Linga always having together union with the mother also. Parvati, Uma, whatever form, maybe Durga, already there. It is the first form of Ardhanarishvara, or the primordial man, with the help of mother, going to create. So this is the way. Some of the things like that, giving you just introductory things. Now coming to some of the basic lessons when we are talking about this landscape geometry or cosmic geometry of the landscape, that the term was used by James Prinsep in 1931. The man who has fixed our time, the man who has deciphered Brahmi script, he died around 40, just like Vivekananda. So first time he said that whenever you go to see ancient temple, mostly mother temples, and you see the design, you say these are yantras. So he has given the word, he translated yantra as a cosmogram. He said these are the designs to represent the whole cosmic thing through the numerical and different type of design phenomena involved there. And then parallel to that, we find that, my goodness, Leonardo was also thinking in a similar way. So here in our term is circle represents light, square represent water, and triangle represent wind. These are the three ingredients that to make the life better, and then it starts like this. That is the basic idea. And just I have already referred that they are represented in numerical sense. That's why he said 9 into 4 into 3 is equal to 108. There is another explanation. And that explanation, this is more, you can say, scientific explanation. There is a more practical phenomenological explanation. That 12 represent the time. And according to, again citing Atharva Veda, that we have Khataritu, we have 6 seasons, and every season going to have 2 phases. It go up and then slowly down. So each season having 2 phases, thus the 6 seasons multiplied into 2 is equal to 12, and that's why we say 12 masa, 12 months. Okay, that became the time cycle. And 9 I have already explained to you, 4 main direction, 4 cardinal direction, and then all meet together at the center. 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9, and now you can multiply together. 12 into 9, 108. This is the way when you are counting this rosary. It is nothing like that in a ritual sense you are counting only. Through this ritual, you are going to put your soul, your mind, your thought, your ideology. For 1 whole year, it is going to move. Okay, 12 into 9. So 108 is a number that gives you, it has several explanations. So I am not going in detail. There are 108 explanation of that one. But anyway, leave that aspect, just to give that idea how that is going to fit when you are going to talk about landscape and location of temples, etc., etc. So that is the idea. One more conceptual frame is that, that is again, you find that always in our literature, in ancient, I am talking ancient literature, Sanatana, at least you can say before 10th century. Then they always say 3 loka. 3 loka, one is celestial, Swarga and whatever loka it may be, celestial. Nowadays we call in theoretical physics as the macro space, macrocosmos. Then earthly, what is visual, what you always experience through this body. So that is the mesocosmos. And then comes microcosmos. Either you create like an icon like Shivalinga, or your own body, or your hridaya, or your concentration. So we have the 3 level. Macrocosmos, mesocosmos, and microcosmos. And these all have been converted into different forms of pilgrimage journeys. I will cite you some of the examples. So this is just to give you some of the conceptual frame when we are talking about cosmic geometry or landscape geometry, how it is related to sacrality and what our great sages have tried to develop. So that is the same thing in a simple diagrammatic way, that when we are talking about Vastu Purusha Mandala, it means the cosmic man having the macro, then meso, then micro in the left-hand side. I have mentioned you. And when we put all together in our pilgrimage journey, yatra, then all three together are working at a different level. So I will show you later on example. Okay. So 2-3 words let me introduce, and then coming to the practical exercise to see that. The one is that when we translate the word devatva, there is nothing like exactly sacrality. Sacrality has something human intention. When we say devatva, it is all divine, which is responsible in all the way to create you, to regulate you, to activate you, to formulate you, whatever you can think. But anyway, in Western world, thanks to the Germany scholars and psychologists following De Jong, etc., that they try to understand this Indian concept of devatva, and now sacrality is going to be defined in that way. This way we say, in Hindu life world, pilgrimage is an act to cross. So in English word, tirtha, literally they say to cross, and that made confusion. But here is the thing, tirtha yatra, and to cross is to transform. It is not only cross and go and sit. It is to be transformed. It is just like humanity meeting to divinity. Humanity going to cross this whole limitation and conversion into that, and same way that is returning back to it. The whole Srimad Bhagavad Gita is like the Krishna and Arjuna Samvad. These are the typical examples. Then when we are going to perform all this, to practice this, one very important thing is that is system of yoga, asthamaya. You have to be deep faith, not superstition. Nothing like any perspective to be defined, but it is deeply to be understood. And that is asthamaya. There is nothing like exact translation in English. Astha is nothing like you can say the faith, belief. No, nothing like that. It is not like that. And then other thing is, we are coming again to that Atharva Veda. And then we have the Prithvi Sukta also. There, Ma Prithibhyam Putro Ashmi. Hey Ma, O Mother Prithvi, Mother Earth, you are our mother. From there we get all the food and nutrient. And this way, every particle of dust, every inch of space is Pavitra Bhu. It is so sacred, motherly, and it can be realized only through the deeper understanding. Thanks God that only 2 months ago, on 26th of September last year, 2022, in Mexico, there was a meeting after 20 years gap of cultural analysis by UNESCO, and in that, at least whatever I have submitted to the group, no India represented there anyway, but my friend, Italian friend, they represented India in Spanish. Based on my writing, these things what I am discussing, thanks that they have accepted that, look, we need that deeper understanding to have peace, brotherhood, love in the whole world. So that is the idea that how it is going to be. Okay. And other little bit 2 more concepts, and then practically we can see one by one. One is that when we are calling tirtha, and then try to use Western literature, a particular site. Tirth, a pilgrimage place. But in real sense, you read all our literature that never say a site. It says kshetra. the territory as a whole. That is Tirtha. They have the main deity, auxiliary deity, associated deity, and then the ganas, then bhaktas, and bhakti itself became the god also. Then how you can say this is one site? And that is the core to understand landscape geometry. This way the whole idea, and credit goes to my teacher, astrophysics teacher from University of Colorado, John K. Malaville, who has done a lot of work in South India. He's still alive, he's 90 years old person. So that idea coming from that, it is nothing like my interpretation, but thanks that an American scientist, they have tried to understand this from the Indian perspective, and that's why a new word has been introduced, sacred escape. It is not sacred space, but sacred escape. It has the whole territorial concept. So this is one. And then the other thing is, which many times get confused in psychology, but again, thanks to Carl Jung, who has already analyzed during 30s this concept based on the Indian metaphysics, and that is called faith escape. English, this is coined, and later now it is accepted in psychology when we are teaching parapsychology, etc., that is Astha Chetra. It is just an example. The moment you are going to ancient old temple, your mind changes. You feel something different. You expect something divine from that. The aura of that invisible power is there, and therefore that is to be called Astha Chetra, and equal in English will be faith escape. Okay, so now one to quotation, and then we can say, here is the thing. I have cited Fritz of Kaplan, the man, what he said. Remember one thing, 1975, now it has about 10th edition of that book. Science does not need mysticism, and mysticism does not need science, but we humans need both. This is the way the thing is. The other thing is what Albert Einstein used to say, if at first the idea is not absurd, there is no hope for it. This is the thing. It is nothing like always to be doubt. Doubt should be based on not only rationality, but with a deep quest of understanding. Thus the journey starts like this. Okay, so now, so these are just giving you background. Now to give you some of the examples, here is one example why Kashi is so important. Kashi is historically not so old. There are so many cities, at least 5-6 cities in India, much older than that. Prayagraj is much older. Chitrakut is more older than that. Kanchipur is also older than that. There are other sites also. So one unique thing of this particular city is that by 8th century AD, somehow, thanks to mostly the great sages and saints from South India including even Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, etc., okay, they came to that site, they tried to experience the deeper message of what you call spirit of place, okay, and then they have tried to put their own tradition as a memorial thing. And this way what happened, that all that ancient, more or less all you can say, most of the ancient sites from different parts of India, they have been replicated here. But the replica is not only miniature form, but it has maintained its original sense of religious, deep, Sanatani, dharmic sense in two ways. The one way is the replica, if you can take a photograph of this place and then go to original, and then you can reduce the scale through computer, you'll find that 70 to 80% similarity. This we have done. These are all practical things I am talking. And whatever I am talking, I am not talking a single word what I have done. No. I have been just a very small student or servant like this to serving the great masters, and this is based on about around 40 years of all this understanding. Okay, the first thing was like this. to have that miniature representation. Second, what we call environmental setting. Where is that temple in original place? Example is like this, Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is close to the ocean. Then with the wet clothes, you have to go like this and perform the ritual. So here, see my cursor, if it can work. Okay. So Rameshwaram is here, okay, close to Sri Lanka. And then you go to Rameshwaram, this place, here in Varanasi, here also huge tank, okay, and then you have to go by boat close by in the wet clothes. And the miniature temple here, in the same way, you can go 22 wells, so you have to take holy dip. Here you can go to 22 steps and then pour the water. This is a wonderful example. And my teacher Niels Guschou, a famous German architect, used to say, look, I put my 50 years of life all around the world studying sacred places. This is the beauty of Bharat culture. That they make something replica. In English we say replica, but it is not replica. That itself became also original. So replica becoming original, and that set into the human mind. This is the beauty of this. So we have plotted here about 212 such temples, and this way we say that this is the microcosm of whole India. Kashi is a microcosm, representing whole India, or sometimes we say cultural capital of India. Now, one typical example. We all know that in a common knowledge, we say there are 12 forms of Surya, sun god. Okay. My teacher, Kim Malawal, he raised a question. That if you can imagine that here is the whole cosmos, and this is like circuit, and Surya image is moving, then there must be 13th, number 13, a center. Then only on the circumference that all the Surya can move. When we are discussing in the field and meeting several Mahamahopadhyaya, great scholars, they all say, oh, you are Western people, you are confused like this. And then reading the Sanskrit about the Surya Mahatma, especially going to 9th century, then Martang Shankta, etc., then we find already 13th described. And a single word which had never got attention earlier, nobody thought like this. Let me cite that. We changed the whole system, and that has been highlighted all over the world. London Times, New York Times, Washington Post. In 1994, you can see fights all highlighted. And the word is Sambaditya Kendri Bhute. Samba, son of Lord Krishna. Sambaditya, who has founded the tradition of Aditya, sun worship. Kendri Bhute, Kendri at the central point, nexus. Bhute, here was the mistake by majority of people. They have translated the word Bhut, means past. Or Bhut means ghost. And that was the greatest mistake. They have not tried to understand Patanjali Ashtadhyaya in a detailed manner. Okay? Thanks to some scholars, they have linked this. Bhut is the word, the only word used in our literature that defined infinity of time. From where it starts, Bhut, it is coming here, we say, we imagine present, but the moment we say that became Bhut, then whatever you are imagining, no way you can measure, no way you can describe, that is Bhut. And the moment this word, listened by John Kim Balville, he jumped. My goodness, here is the thing, let us measure it. And then the result you can say, so this is simple map of Varanasi, Kashi, and plotting all the temples and shrines of related to sun worship. And you see the result here to see. See here. You see the cursor moving, that is the Samba. Samba is son of Krishna by Mother Jamavanti. Okay. And that whole story, if you know a little bit Purana, that he was so beautiful because he was having the blessing of a Kamadeva, so attracting a lot of girls, etc., enjoying girls, something like that. Then the great Rishi Durvasa was going, who was famous for his anger. So he cursed him that you have not properly respected me enjoying girls. Let me curse you to get leprosy, and all passages may fall down. That he started. And then Samba challenge. Oh, respected great sage Durvasa, this is not my mistake. I am a young boy. Your mistake that without convincing me, without preaching me, you curse me, so you are just cruel. And then Durvasa, this we have decoded, so I am not going to say all that whole story. Then Durvasa awakened all his power and converted that power of sun to give to Sam, and that's why Sam established an image and his whole this leprosy control. That is the story. Then we have a little bit link like this. How that is linked to that? When we have plotted that, so Samba Ditte Kendri Bhukte, then two stories now. You see this, if we, I don't know, this cursor, this showing you 14th of January, exactly the sun rays touch to Yamaditya, Yama, god of death, and then go to Samba. And that is story linked to Mahabharata, how the Bhishma, he was on the arrow bed and dying, waiting for the Makar Sankranti, 14th of January. And then he left his life. So that is the link, that how it is set like this. Who has done this? How such accurate? We have measured is 7 years measurement. That was a project sponsored by National Science Foundation, US, and MIT project. Okay. Then comes, there is another word that is defined, that what is that say? Uttara Dikya. Uttara, Uttar, North, Aditya, Uttara Ditya. And then it says, so we have gone to that side. Here is the northernmost side. Then it says that how to do ritual. So first you have to go south, Karana. Karna means just like ear. Karna means Karna, another, the sixth brother of Pandavas of Mahabharata also. Okay, going there. Then it says that on a particular day, the day is fixed, that is 14th of July, when the sun will be at the highest level of its power. This is the crude word. We try to just translate it, means daylight. When measured in whole North India, the maximum daylight will be recorded on 14th of July. Exactly. The second thing, then it is linked, that site, all are existing, all are part of ritual, pilgrimage, puja, etc., etc. Then linking to the Karana, when you draw the line, the way it is described, that say that Prahlad was doing this puja like this, and then Dhruv Tara came like this. The story is like this. Dhruv Tara, the North Star. When we try to understand what is the mystery behind it, because when we say North Star, this is the fixed star, that's how to fix the north direction. Cosmic, what we call technically cosmic north. Okay, good. Remember that story is about 8th, 9th century. What is dated by Western scholar. So we draw a line. From that Uttaradirk to Karna, the moment it drawn and we measured with the high sophisticated instrument, that was project of, as I have already mentioned. So 11 radars and all those things are going on. It is exact cosmic north. Before that, nowhere in the world people were knowing that what is the real cosmic fixed north. It was imagined, described, but no way to measure. So Kim Malville wrote that in American Journal of Astrophysics and Nature, such a standard journal, that no, there is nothing like real proof, but any scientist can go check and prove it. That is the proof. This is the contribution, the greatest contribution to know how the land, man, and the great sage's mind, they have tried to put those things on the surface, and that is a part of the ritual landscape. This is the way the whole story is going on. So now close by, you can see that. Here you can see right-hand side how people were worshipping that, and that is special days. This is the way, the nearby the southern portion of the coop. Then again you could find on the railing. 14th of August, the sun rays exactly follow the railing. And that railing in the opposite way, if you go this side, this is the way where my cursor is moving, that is the exact cosmic north. This structure has been repaired several times. First time it was referred in an inscription in about 6th century, Naga period. And later on, that was the late 17th century, it had been modified. Then in the 18th century, repaired, etc., etc. But before, this is now already mentioned in UNESCO report, that first time the real idea to use the cosmic sense for human life in a form of structure, that is the Lunar Kund in Varanasi. So now Ghat. That the same thing what we are talking about, the numerical symbolism converted into the line. So there is saying, popular saying that according to Hindu cosmogony, 8.4 million organic species in the whole cosmos. Okay, 84 lakh, 84 lakhs yoni species. The man soul has to move, and then the last one will be the man. If you are doing good work, then you can go to moksha, or you can return back to another species like this. This whole idea has been converted along this ghat. There are 84 ghats. So each ghat representing 100,000, 1 lakh yoni species. Now the rule says that if we are going to take holy dip at one ghat, and with the wet clothes, go to do ritual nearby Shiva temple, do the ritual, return back, then next ghat. This will take about 12 hours. According to our survey during the last 40 years, we never find any proof that anybody has done this regularly. Partly they have done, but not regularly. But thanks that description says, that is about 9th century description, that is Brahma Purana, and then Ganga Lahari, etc. later on explained, that then don't worry, go to only 5 ghats, Panchabhuta, 5 gross elements representing at the 5 ghats, remember the rest ghat, and you can get the merit. Look how beautiful system is. So my teacher, Niels Guschioso, this is a beautiful blending of the human limitation and how to please divine, how to please the nature, Mother Nature. This is a typical example. And this way, in a local tradition, if you can call, this is a very common saying of a Sufi said, so-called Sufi, but he was Hindu, Kabir, Lakh 84 janam gamayo. Oh, my dear friends, you have to remember that you are in the last stage of 8.4 million organic species in the cosmos. So you have to do such things that your life will be sublime and you can return back to the divine being. So many such poems, etc. Okay. Those 5 ghats are represented with the 5 gross elements: sky, ether, fire, water, and earth. Still study is going on that how they have tried to choose this particular site will be representative of this particular element. That it is still not clear. Folk tales are there, stories are there, some studies are going on in architecture, especially in the city of Illinois, some of the Indian, like Amita Sinha is doing, and then Vinayak Bharne from Goa, they are studying this, that there is something in-depth reality, what our great sages always say the things in mantra or in code. So if you're not decoding, you can't understand the whole meaning behind that. So anyway, this is the way. And this whole area is considered to be body of Shiva. So his head is in the south, and that starts from the sky, as I have mentioned at the beginning. Akasha Rupena Chitramatra. So that is described. And that is the southernmost, to check all that bad impact of god of death. So this way, these stories are linked together. We have to try to understand the deeper meaning, and then only we can convey the whole world that here is the thing. Our Mother Nature is giving all that solutions, understanding, and thought. Oh, my dear, this is another example. Okay. So just to have a glimpse so that you can feel how the ghats, those who have not visited Kashi, uh, you know that recently there was a great Kashi Tamil Sangam. I hope that many of you visited that. So just having an example, the first ghat here is left-hand side, top is Asi Ghat, then the main Dashashmed Ghat, then Manikarnika Cremation Ghat, and the last ghat that is Adikesha Ghat, to have a glimpse. Now you see that how to decode the thing to understand the message, a deep message. This is based on Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Section is Kashi Rahasya, and that is about late 16th century. That was the period of Mughal King Akbar. During that period, this text was written. But this is a marvelous text, which never we have tried to understand this. Simple exercise we did that described that how the city of Kashi grown in 4 yugas, mythological period, the Satyuga, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga as defined in the Sanskrit literature. Whatever described there, simply we tried to put the sketch, left-hand side, the 4 sketch. Satyuga, yeah, Krita Yuga, the city was like trident. In Treta, the city became circle, okay? Chakra Rupena, that is the word. Then it says Ratha Rupi, that is like chariot. And then it predicted that Kali Yuga is coming and the city will go like conch shell. Just a minute. I have fever, so anyway, so let me have a little bit of water. So only to see this. Simple, when the text says the city grown in the past like trident, and that refers how to define the trident, 3 peaks. The whole area was just like forest, Anandavana. It was shrub, trees, dense trees, etc. And there were 3 open under a big tree, some ashram. There is nothing like building structure. And that is the real thing. Then we have put that sketch that what is that? So they says that in the north Omkareshwar, center Visheshwar, southern Kedareshwar, just like this trident. When we have studied under that program, under University of Colorado and MIT program, then we have reconstructed the landscape. To a great surprise, we find that already 3 hillocks there. So city has grown horizontally as well as vertically, and that's why those peaks are now gone under. All captured and city grown this way. We find that somehow in the ancient part, those great sages, they have understood it. But the most important thing is 2 more. You see this second person, circle. It is exact circle. And that says the way it is described, when you are going to draw a circle, you need 2 things, the radius and center. The center is Madhyameshwara. Madhya means center, E, the cosmic nexus, and Chara, that is going on movement. Okay, so Madhyameshwara, and then Delhi, not Delhi. Delhi means cosmic gate. So we use aerial photograph, and then our laser surveys through radar system. We gone there, plotted that exact when the moment we plot that on the map, this is the way. This is not simple map. This is high resolution. After that, such machines never use. It is exact circle. Now you can remember that before that, nowhere on Earth circle has been drawn. It is imagined. It is described, but not drawn. And exactly plotting that, Madhyameshwara and the radial point, it's a punch crochet, 5 crochet, 17.26 kilometer. It is exact in millimeter. And that is something greatest contribution that how they have tried to define. Then they describe that how to do pilgrimage journey, you will get this merit, blah, blah, blah. The story is going like this. Now, one more point. They predicted that in Kali Yuga. So remember that text was talking about 1600. That was 1595. We have calculated that astronomically. It says that Sata Satani was in Sun. And then we have counted that what will be the point. That come about 1820. The city will grow like on self, Sankar Rupen. So we have just map of 1822, the first map, and is still considered the most accurate map by James Prinsep. You see the similarity. The way they have referred, here 11 Shivlinga will grow like this. As a landmark, we have plotted that and it is fitting into that. This is something unique thing that you think, oh, this is all manipulation. Okay, that is your interpretation. But thanks God that is exactly everything is measured like this. This is the another perspective. Panchkoshi Yatra, of course, the Panchkoshi Yatra developed in many parts of India, but in Varanasi, this is intact, is still maintained. In other parts, like in Vrindavan, we know, in Chhattisgarh, we know, in Bhopal, we know, we have visited those areas. They have been completely lost, are changed so much that no way you can say these are historical. And so many modern things are added there. But in spite of all the changes, this is maintained. First time it was referred in 6th, 7th century text. It started from Matsya Purana, about 7th century. What we did, this is one among the three. Let me say what is this is important. The first such technical historical journey is Santiago de Compostela. That in Spain and France, that is about 1800 kilometers journey going on, that is unique in the whole world. Okay. The second is Shikoku journey, that is 1385 kilometers journey in Japan. And this is third one. This is, of course, only 88 kilometers. And this will take 5 days, 6 days, you have to return back and go. It is divided into 5 parts, just like Panchabhuta, etc., etc. What is important in this, that it has 108 shrines. So when I was talking about this rosary and mala, like we were talking this mala things, okay? So that is without counting beads, you can walk all around and then you find that you have done this. This is a wonderful example in the Levy's terminology, mesocosmos. Okay, so the study was that let us see that how it is fitting in the geometric space. Oh my God. Just a minute. Not working. Oh. Okay, now it's coming. Okay, so we have done this geomagnetic and laser beam survey. The result is very unique. That when you try to put all this alignment and correspondence of the lingas and the murtis and the whole family members of Lord Shiva, etc., they are about 78% aligned to the nucleus. Their inclination, they are turning like this. We have already published a full book on that one. So one is technical, one is more scientific, and then the popular papers we have published. So that is another perspective, that how the spirit of the land, where there is always some divine force. So great sages tried to communicate with the forces, converted this into such a model and unique frame of pilgrimage routes. This is the typical example of that one. Ganesha, he has 56 forms. So look here, it is just like Nadi Shastra. So it starts from the southeast, it moves just like our Kuldani 7 times in 8 directions. Multiply 8 into 7, 56, and that's how 56 forms of Ganesha. Here Ganesha is called Vinayaka, and Vinayaka is worshipped in most popular way as mother, Vayanayaki. And he is offered Sindur. Sindur is offered to mother. But here you see all the Sindur only. Because he got power of motherhood from Parvati, his mother. And that's why if you are worshipping Ganesha, indirect already you are worshipping Mother also. That is the tradition. And that tradition have very deep meaning. Now see the result. What we have prepared, this model, in the left side you can find, it is exactly fitting into that structure. So this is the example of the Vinayaka Yatra. So that is start, the first is just like conception and birth, and the last will be the death. This will take 3 days. Okay, you have no time, no big deal. You have go to only one, like this image I am showing you. All the 56 character in one. So the name of this particular Ganesha farm is Chapano Vinayak Vinayak. Chapano means 56 character all in one. This is another perspective. You can see how microcosmos is maintained here. In Allahabad, in Prayagraj, even this type of ritual tantric going on, that how this 108 is going to be maintained. I have already mentioned, let me pass some of them, that how body character is fixed to the city. That I have explained you. Now, in course of time, what happened? The Panchabhuta, the 5 gross elements, converted into the 5 most important pilgrimage journey which going on. And every year, 3-4 times on special occasions, people are performing. There are some small religious community organizations, those who are looking after that, and it is going like this. So it is coming from outer side, you can say sky, earth, air, water, and fire at the center. So this is the theoretical diagram in the left side. In the right hand side, what is in the practical sense. Okay. The same thing we have tried to just again put this link, that it is, this is pure theoretical level, stone based, this is topographic based, and then I have studied Leonardo da Vinci and find very similar type of design. That was 1502, prepared by Leonardo da Vinci. Very similar to the turning of Ganges river here, and then how different cardinality the city has been planned, that is Imola, that is considered to be the wonderful city plan based on the sacred power. So that is another perspective. Anyway, this is the way that inner side we try to see the energy, etc. The temple generally say like Kashi Vishwanath temple, the old one I am talking, which was already demolished by the order of Aurangzeb in 1669. Credit goes to James Prinsep, who has tried to reconstruct the basement and then try to understand the whole cosmic design of the basement of this. Now this is a political system going on, what to do. Okay. The another form is just to plot all the temples, 96 temples and shrines of mother goddesses. They all having something particular symmetry. The result is like this in scientific phenomena, just you go from outer to inner, it is going to be completely condensed, like in this case you see. Then you can see Matrikas, Yoginis, Gauris, Lakshmis, Kalis, Mahakali, Mahamaya. We have about 13 groups of all goddesses. And 30% of the goddesses, they just change the name in different groups. And that's why altogether reality is 96. But if you can count separately, then 324. 108 into 3 is equal to 324. That is also a wonderful thing, how they have thought all those things to convert on the landscape and people can enjoy. So Vishalakshmi, you know, that is the most important god, Vishalakshmi, with big eyes fallen here and beautiful eye and second eye fallen at Madurai. That is the story related to the goddess. This is a unique building. This is one among the 3 such buildings based on the tantric system of the body, that is in Banaras, Gurudhama. Ramnagar Ramalila theater form, that is the only one in the whole world that this held at 31 places and 31 days, and there is nothing like any modernity. Many people believe, many books have been written by different scholars, they believe that this is something it is moving within 6 kilometers of area. Okay. Okay, I have already referred that how the different sites have been replicated in Varanasi and representing as a microcosmic India. This is one typical example of Jyotirlingas. So map of the India, and then you find that, so that became the macrocosmos, all converted in the landscape of Varanasi, mesocosmos, and then there is one linga. On the Yoni platform, all the miniature lingas are there. So this is the micro. So all the 3 layers are here. Okay, so some other cities you can quickly see, like Gaya. You know that there are 3 cities considered to be important for the post-cremation rites or death rituals. The first one is Prayagraj, then Kashi, and then Gaya. This is the typical example of Gaya. We have tried to study, and then we find that 2 important results. The one is that this is already related to the ancient worship as sun god. So we have plotted the temples and then tried to see that it had the 3 loka, like 3 mythical realms, inner, middle, and outer, all in a base of circularity. Their radius are fixed. And then related to the sun sign, how the light's going to be on a different occasion. Then the study says that this was a wonderful example, what we call it, cultural astronomy. And then the whole prediction that what impact it has on life. Chitrakut, that is unique place. It is based on Valmiki's Ramayana, so at least it is going to be 1500, close to the Vedic period. And the way it says, the first it says Hiranyagarbha, what I have referred, golden like egg. So we have plotted those sites. It is fitting into that. Now remember how Valmiki, when we are talking 1500 BC, the way he described the site, sitting at the place called now Lala Ashram, we call about 20 kilometers away from the main Chitrakut. And whatever he has described, all are about 99% correct. What with the triangle, what with the circle, how to go there, what with the distance, all these are fully, that is got Chitrakut Mahatma, the mythological description of Chitrakut. So that is another example. Now, a few slides, within 5 minutes, I will complete it. So here in Vindhyachal, which is 65 kilometers away from here. So when we have tried to prepare this, this is not described at the pan-India level like 51 Shakti Pita. But second level, 108, we find description. Closely, you can see this middle portion, that the red line, that is the mother, the apex is down, and blue apex is up, that is Shiva. Superimposed, and the central part is the Nabhi nexus. This is unique. That I can compare with the whole landscape of Shakti science of India. We have done a lot of work on this. There is a separate book we have written on this. Khajuraho generally propagated as the erotic scene and then stone, etc., etc. All that. This is another thing, that how propaganda has made a site completely negative sense. We have tried to study from the different angle. Thanks to John Kim Malville, he said, first clean your mind, then you can find the message. Result is here. This is also unique. On every Sivaratri, this is 6 years study, every Sivaratri, when the sunrise starts in the morning, then the reflection will go here to 22 sides, directly hitting the forehead of the image through the holes. Who has made this? This way, based on this, then Tim Baldwin studied astronomical collection in Smithsonian and NASA, and then tried to revise little bit dates what most of the historians used to say. He said, look, astronomically it is fitting like this. So even few days here and there, that gives you direct reference that how exactly those people have tried to understand the whole area. So just you can imagine that within 10-15 kilometers of area at different sites, how they have made. That it started from 9th century to 13th century. You all know that. That is Khajuraho, Vishanatha. Then the most famous, Kandariya, just to have a scene. Just to give another example, that is unique building in the whole world. That is Brihadeshwara. that is Thanjavur. You know that there is nothing like basement. It is directly started from the surface. Nearby, 3 times earthquake, many buildings fallen down, and nothing happened to this building. Nobody knows what is that system. They said that is a notching system, interlocking system, but why not other? No example in the whole world for such things. Bharat Mata, the whole India has been converted into map, and the horizontal and verticality is 9.7 point exact. That is the only piece in the whole world. Okay. We are talking sacrality and sacral geometry without Prayagraj, nothing like that. The biggest human gathering in the whole world in 2019, 105 million people took bath, and this is all Western data. Okay, so that to give you the same thing, just like Gaya, it has the 3 layers and plotting, the ancient Banyan, the way, okay, all these calculation, just I am passing on. Okay, in modern building, where I was a teacher also, that is also unique. This is based on the Karmika plan, the 5 layers, the Panchabhuta, then 14, 7 right, 7 left side you will find. Again, the whole Bhuvan Kosha converted into form of half circle. There is no other modern building in the whole world. Okay, now people disturbing here and there, they are making buildings. So that is going to be something changed. But anyway, this is the way you can just compare. Central part is Vishwanatha. This way the model, and that you can also compare with, here is Vatican. Look at the similarity. So perhaps maybe somehow those who are developing that idea of Vatican to make this model, somehow naturally they have been influenced direct or indirectly from Indian metaphysical perspective. So okay, let me just close my lid. Certainly we need synthesis between insider and outsider. We have to emphasize our own, but we have also to say that this is going to serve to understand the West in a much better way. That is another perspective. It is nothing like uniqueness, but it is just like something great to serve the whole world to understand this. And that's why we say, let us hope for the truthfulness through the goodness in the beautiful way, what we call Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. And the last, let me cite again Vivekananda, that is based on his 5th lecture in Chicago, what he cited from Kathopanishad, the first section, Utishthata Jagrat Prapya Varam Nivadhayate. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. That is our mono. Then only what Acharya has already said, that we have to consider, we have been, we are, but we have to justify the line of Vishwaguru. It is possible that each and every aspect of knowledge to be linked and then projected to the whole West in their own language. Say that here is the thing, there's nothing like contradiction. Here is the uniqueness. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share. So now we say this is the Sanatana Hindu way of life. It is through the space, time, asthana, kala, and astha, all together meet together, and that makes you Sanatana. The word Sanatana coming from the infinity, existing and going into infinity, that is Sanatana, and that is our thought.